That would be a good way to introduce the show, though.
That's right. It would be a great way to introduce the show by going in a Mario voice.
The Mario voice.
It's so Shaun doesn't play video games. Episode 3, playing Fez. And surprise, I haven't played it before, so it'll be a delightful experience for us all. So Fez is a show that a game that we had talked about on the previous podcast. The game infamously made by Phil Fish, the guy who just couldn't finish a video game on time. Will his game live up to the hype? Will it be the indie darling everyone wanted it to be so many years ago? Find out.
Will it fall flat? Will it just have one dimension?
All right.
Oh, video game puns, good times.
We got some flames already, Shaun. All right. So what'd you think? All right, let's go with the story. What's the story of Fez, Shaun?
You're a little man, and what's his name? Giorgio or something?
His name is Gomez.
Gomez.
His name is Gomez.
And he lives in a 2D world. This little 2D world, and then he climbs up to the top of his 2D world, and he goes into he finds his little Fez. It comes down, rains down from the heavens, lands on his head, and then all of a sudden his world turns into having 4 dimensions. Ooh. But I did think that part was cool. When you got to the Fez part, and then it like resets the whole game, it like blanks out, and then it like restarts again, and it's all glitchy and stuff. That was pretty cool. It honestly took me by surprise, and I thought that was like a neat feature.
You're like, whoa, what?
Because at first when I saw the video, when we were talking about like indie video game, I thought it was a glitch. I thought I found a glitch. I was like, oh my god, don't tell me it's gonna start glitching on you like immediately. No, nope. This is gonna be like, it's just gonna start doing this.
It was on purpose.
But then, I mean, once you actually start the video game, you get to like move around this world, and there's not really a plot line that I could get at besides like going to find do the particular challenges. But you're not like saving anybody or anything. You're kind of just moving through and like finding pieces and figuring out puzzles and stuff like that. So
for reference,
is that what you got too?
Neither of us have completed the game. This is just as an FYI. So, but anyway, so you could not find any further plot development. I think it's interesting what they sort of started doing. When I was playing they had like the black holes.
Yeah.
They had black holes in the game where it was like sort of like the world was being destroyed because they needed to put together all the pieces. Yeah. Which I thought was really interesting. I would hope that it continues because I liked that concept. That was pretty cool. I mean, in mechanical execution, I mean, it was just a spike pit, but you know, ideally later on,
there was a spike pit that sent you somewhere. Right.
So the real only narrative that you get in the game, aside, from basically the first 5 minutes, basically climbing up the tower, getting your powers, and your cube quadrahedron, whatever, partner, is that you can talk to all the people in the town. Did you talk to them?
Yeah.
Did that inform any of the narrative at all? Did that kind of like help you at all? No.
I want to get down to that like down the road when I talk about like. I think there's other things that I want to talk about with that.
Okay. So do you have anything else you want to talk about in the story? Is there any other?
Not really. I mean, no. I think something that I kind of liked about the game was that it allowed you to kind of just. I hated it at first, the idea that you're just exploring, you're just walking around and like doing stuff, but it was all right. Now that I look back on it, it wasn't. Versus having something to compare it to, like when you compare it to Meat Boy, which the story is literally like keep going, like just keep moving forward, essentially, and there isn't like you can't backtrack or anything. And the reason I say this is because like I did go on YouTube a couple times and watch like playthroughs, but I was really surprised at how like every different playthrough there was always a different way that somebody did it. Like nobody ever did the, like when I was watching Meat Boy playthroughs, it was like, then you do this and this and this. There was like a way to figure it out. But with Fez, it was like genuinely a lot of it was people playing, and going through things a different way. Like I was looking for answers to like a particular puzzle or something. And then, but to get there, I had to actually like watch 8 minutes of people getting to a certain place. And a lot of times it was like doing stuff that I didn't do to get to that particular puzzle. So that was cool. That's one thing I kind of admire about this game, is that there was the ways to get to things that are really interesting. And that was really well done.
So what you're saying is that you enjoyed that there was a sort of narrative in the game, kind of like I was trying to get you to in Super Meat Boy, in that you kind of go through the levels and it has like a story, and that you're kind of like progressing through it. You're kind of getting deeper into the woods or getting deeper into hell or whatever. Things are getting more serious. But in Fez, you're doing each world kind of has its own like visual feel and look to it, and going through each of them, it kind of creates like a story. You kind of develop your own story. Like I had just gotten to the spoopy level, where
where the lightning stuff is at.
Yeah, there was like owl. There was a creepy owl, and there was like lightning and stuff. And I was like, oh, that's really fun. I was specifically drawn to it because it was creepy or spoopy or whatever, I had also gotten to the part where there was like a desolate, like sort of like city village thing.
Oh yeah, like the ruins.
Yeah, it had like some like neon signs and stuff, and I thought that was really cool. I was like, whoa, are there other people here? Because it kind of like alluded to there was like maybe some sort of some kind of civilization there, because there's like a little like vending stand.
It's interesting that you got there that fast, because that took me a while to get to that, actually.
I'm fast.
Like part of me wants to like look at your map and look at my map and see all the places that you've gotten in 2 hours and compare it with the map that I did in my 6 hours of playing, and see exactly like, because I think that saying that you might have veered off in a different direction that I didn't go, and that's cool.
Right, for sure.
I'll hand it to Phil. Like, that's awesome. That was a great part of this game. I think Tyler just froze, which makes me wonder if I just froze. So let's give him some time to refresh, see if he comes back.
This teaching, which is why I like the game so far. You are there, right?
Yeah, I think you just cut out, so I didn't get anything that you just said.
Gotcha.
There. I don't know whose face is on the screen and who wasn't on there. So
all right, I'm just locking it on you.
Okay.
Okay. I just said that the way that you play is very modular, because you can go to various different levels. You don't have to necessarily go to a specific place in a specific order. And I thought that was an interesting, like sort of like you could create your own story. And I thought that was interesting.
Right.
How did you feel about the game telling you like the instructions almost? Because it kind of like just told you, this is how you open a door. This is what this does. Blah, 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 blah. How do you feel about that?
Okay. This is one of my points of contention with this game. And this like when we were talking about last episode, how like this would be the pedagogy of the game, like how it teaches you to do things. At first, I liked it, and it was pretty simple. Playing it on my keyboard, because I don't have a controller, it was pretty easy to understand. And then like finding that like, if you jump, you can do things. And I mean, granted, everything wasn't given to you, so you have to like, I like that in the game, like you figure out like, oh, there's a black hole there, so maybe you have to like jump up and then hang and then crawl and then turn sides and stuff like that. So you have to like figure out all these dimensions and how to go through them. But at the same time, what I really disliked about this game was, have you gotten to any of the parts yet where you get the little orb that's flying next to you, and then you hit the intro button and it says like, I don't know what this is. We should figure this out. And then it just leaves, and that's all you get. That really makes me mad.
I have encountered that before, but I mean, you're right that it feels a little like superfluous, and that that you don't necessarily need to have like 2 or 3 speech bubbles just to say that. But I mean, it is. I assume it's going to be something that's important later on, and they just want to make sure that you take note of it and that you come back to it.
Right.
So you would just say that.
No, I don't know. It almost felt like that was where, from when I watched the documentary, I got a little bit of feel for how Phil was. That like that might have been part of Phil's personality coming out there. Of like, it almost was like if you had an older sibling that was like, well, I know what this is, but I'm not going to tell you that yet. You just have to figure that out. It was almost annoying to me. Like I was like, oh, this is now I really am mad at you. Like
that is true. I did actually specifically dislike Dot because he wasn't really very.
He's not helpful.
Yeah, he wasn't very friendly either. I mean, he was just kind of like, "Hey, buddy, you suck." Like, oh, why am I stuck with you?
Right. Because I mean, the only useful thing that he does a lot is like explain like, well, if you hit control. And then that allows you to turn this lever or something like that. You know, it never was, it's like a functional command that you could look up some other place. It wasn't really anything that was like helpful to you in any way.
Or besides looking
through doors.
Or could have had a bubble.
Right. So I don't know. I think that pedagogically that could have been done different.
So would you say that you don't like the sort of the fairy helper that just kind of like shows up and kind of helps you out? Well, like, how do you feel about Dot as like the narrative sort of pusher?
As a narrative pusher, not so much. As a tool for helping you explore the game, yeah.
Well, I'm just saying you don't need Dot to explain what things do. There can just be a bubble that happens.
Right. I mean, that's what I mean. Like the most useful feature that I found for Dot was when you're standing in front of the door and you can see quickly what's on the other side. So you decide like, okay, well, I haven't gone in that one yet.
All right. Well, that's more of a gameplay perspective. And even then, you still didn't need a sassy quadrahedron explaining that to you. So would you have preferred the story if you were just by yourself, if you were a lone warrior traversing through the 2D, 3D world? Because you're not alone.
I don't know. I guess I feel like I'm alternating between models here, where it's like having this Dot that follows you around and helps you out versus having like more people throughout the whole thing, like Pokemon, where you run into people and you talk to them, like it was earlier in the game where you had like, oh, back in the day, like, the world was flat, you know, and maybe that would have been more helpful. But I don't know. I just think. I don't know if the game would be better or worse with or without it.
If you only got 25% through the game, how do we not know that there aren't more people there?
Right.
There could be. But no. So what I'm getting at is that you did not really like Dot, and anything that it could have done would have been just as fine with just a bubble coming up, a nondescript tooltip showing up that flashes across the screen that says, "Hey, do this."
Right.
So that would make you much more alone in the game. You're okay with that?
Oh yeah, it's not like you weren't. I mean, Dot was only there when you came around something that was like, and for the majority, you're alone anyway. Oh God, that just got real existentially deep.
But I would say that there were animals all over the place.
Oh yeah, right.
How do you what did you think of those?
They were just funny. I can't really. I was trying to figure out just now if like when you went by a turtle. Have you been by a turtle yet?
I might have.
The turtle just spins in place.
Oh, that's
like
cute.
It doesn't run. Like everything else kind of like runs, but then you wonder if it was like kind of a Mario hint there with the shells and whatnot because they spin when they go. But yeah, no, and then like everything else ran away, and the birds and whatnot.
Did that make you feel any less alone though?
No. I thought it made like a nice movement in the game, but
I thought quite the opposite. I thought they were kind of nice little, like,
Aww.
they made me not feel... well, I also have grown rather fond of animals within the past year. My post-grad hood has been very animal-centric. But
animals.
I know they're important. They're cute and important.
This is a good time to plug your petting zoo.
If only that was really... But I don't know. It made me... I would have been okay if even the animals just told me what to do. They're like, hey, do this.
Ah, I am Mr. Squirrel. Hit control, hey, to turn the lever and jump up the vines.
Right.
Ah. Then it runs off.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, I know that would have been cute.
Mm-hmm. I guess it's still a story, but it's like, it kind of like breaks the fourth wall a little bit in that you are, like, he's telling you what are like button presses to do.
Mm-hmm.
He's not talking about like, he's like saying like the action button. He's not saying like, because there is a button that you press that just kind of makes him do a thing.
Right.
And you could just combine that with, like, I feel like there's a way you could like explain it without literally saying the buttons. How do you feel about that? Would that just make the game more convoluted?
Right.
Or would that be more immersive?
I think it'd be more immersive for me.
Yeah. Okay. So, with that being said, we'll go on the presentation because I feel like there's no story. I'm like, until we get to a game that really actually has a plot, the story is just gonna be like, come on, let's try to get some nuggets out of here. You know, let's try to get some little kernels of narrative.
What do you think this means? I don't know.
So, as told in Indie Game the Movie, he has remade the visuals of this game 3 times. Do you think that there would have been... Do you think that the game would have suffered had the pixel art been slightly less good in this game? Because I think specifically he was talking about the patterning in the bricks.
Right. No, I don't think it would have been that different because I was more focused on playing it than observing the aesthetic of the world.
Okay.
I could definitely see that as a point of contention for a creator. I mean, you and I are both creative types. Like,
right.
We notice the little things. That's what stands out for us. And it, like, I don't know if it drives you crazy, but it drives me crazy to have like one little thing off. Like, that's the first thing I'll notice every time I look at it. So yeah, no, I understand that from a creativity standpoint, like how that would make you, like crazy. But at the same time, I was more focused on gameplay than I was consuming. That said, I still liked it a lot. Like I thought it was really beautiful, and I was happy to see all the different kinds of worlds there were. To be honest, I wasn't expecting that. Yeah, I was expecting it to be pretty
Mario Bros.
Right. Like you have different levels, but it's all kind of the same shape. It's all kind of the same, like the gist of it is essentially the same. But
I would be curious to see what it would look like in the first version. I want to see I want to do a side by side of the first and the final version of the artwork. And if I could have gotten Fez like 8 years ago, whatever the ridiculous number of years ago it was, and it was like just a marginal like difference in look, I would happily take the older version.
Mm-hmm. Well, part of me wonders if it was kind of lost on us too because we don't play on such a big screen. Like when a lot of people that I was watching videos of it, they're playing on Xbox, and I assume they're playing on like larger screens, maybe like 40 plus. And that might actually make a really big difference versus playing it on something that's like under, 30 inches. You probably don't notice all the fine details as having something that's like a 4K television. It might actually make kind of a difference.
I just feel like I'd be hard pressed to be like, is this visual style worth that amount of extra time? Like I would just need to see the visual change.
Right.
because I'm sure it was probably all like self-induced changes that he felt like he needed to change, not like things that actually really affected the look and feel of the game. Right. Because as someone that has worked on something for a long time, at a certain point, whatever you're going to do isn't going to make that big of a difference. And it's like, I can either keep working on this for like another like 3 hours, or it's like even just like right before a critique and you're like trying to get something done. It's like, why don't I just stop and just be prepared and give a better presentation at the like, you know, when I go to give it. You know, it doesn't make sense to like pick away the details unless it really matters. And if you're picking out important details that late into like a project cycle, then it's not going to go well. Mm-hmm. So
I think there is a little bit of legitimacy in being ruthless about the product that you make, though.
I mean, I completely agree, but I mean, we heard how long it took to get this game finished.
I think maybe that's where his identity came out in this game. Because I mean, maybe this is something that we'll explore later too, but when I played this game after watching the movie, I really feel like Phil Fish is in this game.
I would agree.
You know what I mean?
Yes. But with that being said, the pixel art is amazing. I would say it's very well done. The color, I there's like so many things I could just say in like a swath of like things I like about the visuals. But it's like, let's actually talk about it. You know, like there's a great, like, the color that's used is amazing because it really feels like he utilized full shades of the rainbow. Like, I feel like, well, it also helps because there's a day and night cycle. Mm-hmm. The day and night cycle just like gently shifts like the change of everything, and that really, I feel like, makes a difference. It really keeps you engaged in how, like, kind of, I don't know, it keeps you engaged in like looking at the art as you're playing it as well.
Right.
And then along with, you know, the game could have easily just been Mario colors, you know, like level world 1-1. You know, it's like blue, it's like brown, it's like green, you know, and that could be the end of it. Every world could just be like that, and then, you know, the next world, blue, black, brown, you know. Mm-hmm. But every level is like reds, greens, blues, purples, like orange, yellows, and it's like, and then shifts back, and it's just this like this ebb and flow of color, and it's just really amazing to behold. I really like.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I mean, that's what I don't want to be hard on him for taking 3 years to do it, because I really think it was like putting in the effort like that. And part of me got a feeling too, having not played very many video games, that like Phil Fish has played a ton of video games. Like this kid probably spent more time in front of the television playing video games than like I could, if I try to do it right now and for the rest of my life, I just couldn't make it up.
Then you've written in college papers.
Right. You know, like he's really like, he knew what he wanted to get out of this, and he went into it to make something that he really, really, really wanted to make.
Right. For sure.
And that's cool, because I wouldn't have thought about that. I think like that might be, with the exception of like watch people play Grand Theft Auto, that might be one of the only like other games that I can think of off the top of my head that changes hours of the day. You know, like you go into a night scene, or you.
There are other games. I mean, I'm sure.
Right.
I know there are, but I think it does it really well, and it also, but it's not really. I guess it's not really a gameplay. It is a gameplay matter, but it doesn't really affect it in any way. But it doesn't really change. The time of day doesn't really affect anything at all.
Right.
Do you wish that it did?
Nope.
No.
I was gonna say I on that comment, like I really liked how the game was continuous all the time.
Mm-hmm.
That was actually really nice.
Mm-hmm.
Versus like it resetting every single time. Once you die, oh no, you reset. Like just pick up from where you left off and just keep on going.
Was there any particular level that you liked because of its color? The way it was colored, or specifically, I want to talk about the color.
The ones that we talked about already, the one, the haunted one that you just got to, the haunted world, that one is really good. And then the one that was almost like, well, you had it as, what did you say? It was like the neon level. It almost reminded me of like Blade Runner, kind of like sci-fi-esque kind of level. That was probably my favorite one. Just because I like the grays and the blacks and like.
Oh man, I'm excited to see more of that then.
That's it though. That's the only one I could find. It's just that one little thing.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, what? That's insane.
The spooky level is really. That one's
ready for it.
Pretty extensive. But yeah.
Oh, actually, there's one more.
Because you didn't really play that much of it.
I know. I was.
But those are which ones did you play? Maybe we can talk about it sometime. Which one was your favorite?
Well, I would definitely just say, oh man, I'm looking at some screenshots and I'm like, God, every level is just amazing. I wouldn't say that the levels are like, because they're made of essentially of just like building blocks.
Mm-hmm.
They don't feel unique in that sort of the way that they're kind of constructed. You're like, I'm careful to say that because each level, each world definitely had a different feel to it.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think I'll specifically remember an instance in that level that was like particularly captivating.
Mm.
Like in like a lot of levels of Sonic, there's like a particular like loop-de-loop or like a specific secret area or like something like that. Like you would remember how it looks, how it feels specifically for like kind of like the mechanics that involved. But every level kind of was based on this building block template, which kind of made them feel less memorable mechanically, but definitely visually memorable.
Mm-hmm.
God, that was a lot to get through in my brain.
Put a lot of thought into that one.
Yeah.
I like it. No, I agree. I think
here it is. What's this called? I found it. Lighthouse? No. Was it? No. That's stupid. Never mind. Don't worry about it. But yes, I do know the specific building that you're talking about. I can't believe there's only one part of that.
Yeah, that's it.
I find that hard to believe, but okay.
If you find something else, let me know, because I'm gonna go and do more of that.
I guess if I had to pick one, man, it's just also good. I hit a forest section, and I really like that one.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. That has like the tree house and the mushrooms and stuff.
Yeah.
That one was cool.
I liked sort of like
all these rich greens and all this stuff.
Yeah, I liked the sort of overlay it had on it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because there's like a green, like almost shade over everything, which I thought was really engaging. I felt like it really kept it fresh. But I have to say, the spooky level is probably going to be.
Dude, it's good. It's a fun level.
But it's a good thing that I'm like, oh, I need to go back and play this, because I did legitimately feel like I wanted to play more of it, which is good. Which I'm glad that, because usually I'm not like that. I'm almost like, ooh, I need that taste. I need that taste in my mouth right now. But anyway, we're still in presentation. There's so many things I want to jump between, but it's okay. All right. Let's see. What else in the presentation? How did you feel about the shifting.
Oh, about turning. Yeah, that was good. That was good. I like that when you get further on in the game that actually becomes like another thing that you have to do more. Like how in Super Meat Boy you had to like hit shift sometimes to get yourself that speed and stuff like that. This definitely does that. I don't know if you got to any of that. I feel like in the next level that I got to after the spooky level was one that like really relied on like having control over what you're doing and then being able to rotate and working through the level like that. I think that might be more of a mechanical comment than it is
presentation
comment. But I like that. I don't know, like that said, I like that you could turn it. And when I was I like that when I was able to come into a level that you can instantly like look around and see what's there. Like that was cool versus having to kind of like explore blindly and just wait until the next obstacle comes up on the screen.
That is interesting that I didn't realize that for a long time, and I didn't also realize that there was a map for a long time.
Yeah.
Which were both big problems, but also kind of okay, but that's beside the point. But one of the first things that I noticed when I was like flipping through like all the different like visuals, that a lot of the people in the starting house had really shitty houses because there was like wallpaper falling off and there's like cobwebs and stuff. I'm like, what is this for? Why do they not take care of their house? And I feel like there's always like sometimes there's just rooms and they're just like really shitty looking. I'm like, what is? And there's like stuff that's just in there, and I'm like, what does this mean? What is this trying to tell me right now? Is there more to this? Is there a story that's trying to be told? What's going on? How did you feel about those rooms?
It was all right. I feel like it wasn't the rooms that was catching me as much as it was like the little off levels, like when you get to the part where you go to the observatory and there's the big telescope and you're like looking through it and it's like, what am I supposed to be looking at? It's just showing me gradients of color.
I haven't hit that yet. I'm excited.
And then you get to like some other levels where you're like, what am I supposed to be doing here?
But
it's just like supposed to be like, it's just like I always question, like, is it supposed to be part of the adventure? Probably. Because a lot of that has to do with rotating the rooms. Like when you get to the telescope, or when you get to the observatory area, like you rotate it to look at all the different things, and you get like you get these different angles and stuff, so you constantly have to be turning that to see where you're going.
Right, but were there any like sort of like surprises when you like did like a shift, like visually? Was there anything that you're like, oh?
No, yeah. Once you get, it has to do with mechanic stuff though. Like once you get more into the game where you have to do like, have you gotten to the part where you have to push the levers yet and have the whole like blocks turn and everything?
Yeah. But I'm talking about more like, because like I said, when I flipped it around, I was like, oh, there's like spider webs and like cobwebs and like, you know, there's like ruined stuff. Was there any like when you flipped where you're like, oh, that's there? Like there was actually one part where I should have seen it, but there's like a cube like radiation, which is something we could talk about in just a second, because we haven't talked about that, which I think is pretty cool. And I was like, I like flipped my panels around. I was like, oh, I can walk down there. Like it's like it kind of like went like down below. And I was like, oh, how nice. You know, have you ever had like a pleasant surprise or like something you've been particularly like interested in?
Yeah. I don't know if it was like so much as surprising as much as I like kind of chalked it up to figuring out the level. Mm-hmm. So that would be the first thing I would do once I went into the thing. I would just like, you know, D 4 times and like kind of get a look at everything, or AAA and kind of get it looking the other way and see like, okay, well, how do I methodically want to move through this level? Because there's all these doors I can go through now. Do I want to like knock this one out from top to bottom? Do I want to go like around and move up? That's what I mean. Like that's what I used it for primarily, more than like observing it and saying like, oh, that wasn't cool surprise or anything. So I think you just froze again.
For going too far into one of them. I wanted to always like start at one and like branch out and like kind of come back and like make sure I explored all my options first.
Right.
The game does not want you to do that at all.
No.
But So there was no in particular surprise. Like there was the owl.
Yeah.
That turned. And it was like, oh, that's cute. You know, they try to keep the mechanics kind of going. Even
I couldn't figure out the tombstone thing. So that was one thing that the perspective would have helped you with. But when you go into that later and you go on that level later, if you match all the tombstones up to do something, I don't know what it does, but you have to like hold on. Yeah, you got to get through that level, dude. It's pretty good.
So. But anyway, so a way that they like showcase there's like a cube or what do they call them? I forget.
Yeah,
the little yellows.
Yeah.
Whatever. Okay. When one of those are nearby you, they like radiate and like they make a sound. Do you feel like that's sort of like hand holding? Do you feel like that kind of
no?
You like that's like a helpful.
Well, sometimes it came up right away, but other times it didn't. Like when you had the single cubes, I felt like it was more for the ones that you couldn't see.
Right.
Like the hidden ones, that's where.
Well, then shouldn't
they check it out. But then when you went in the houses and there was like the little thing there, it wasn't until you touched it I thought that it was like, aha. And then I mean to Phil's credit, like the pose that Gomez does when he actually reaches for a cube, that like victory jump is totally awesome. And I want a T-shirt with Fez on that, just like doing like the jump for the cube. Just like, because it was just that was like the redeeming aesthetic of the game for me. Was like watching Fez jump for the cube.
He's definitely a cutie. There was definitely a lot of. I was trying for so long to figure out if there was like any other buttons I could press, or like if I could like make him dance or anything. You can't. You can like run in one direction and then you go backward. Yeah, he'll skid a little bit. And that's really the only trick you can really make him do. Speaking of that character, how do you feel about Fez or Gomez as the character? How do they feel about his character design? All right, so you like his gelatinous blob shape?
Yeah, why not?
No problem.
You can only do so much with pixel art. I mean, you can't really.
Well, that's not true, but.
I mean, in the aesthetic that he chose, I think you can only do so much. No, don't give me that. Don't give me that like dumb layman look, okay? Because like I don't know. I don't work in this medium.
I know, it's okay. I think if he really wanted to not get any sleep ever again, he could have made like a fully like articulated like gun-toting dude. But there's a specific game called Mercenary Kings that's like some primo pixel art that's like amazing, like some of the best animation I've ever seen. But so you don't have a problem with him being a sort of generic looking blob creature with a Fez on top? Okay. How you feel about Fez, the Fez of Fez?
The 4 squares, the 4 red squares with the 1 yellow square?
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Is there any deeper meaning of the Fez? Does the Fez hold any particular weight that you can see that would make him pick that specifically?
It clearly has some kind of magical power.
Well, yeah, but
it makes your world 3D.
He could have picked a bowler derby, or
no. Okay, so like I don't know. I kind of wonder where he got this idea at, because there's a Futurama episode where they do something similar to this, where the professor makes a hat for a monkey and it makes the monkey able to go to college and get a degree and stuff like this.
Yeah.
What's
the monkey's name?
Gunter. Yeah. But you know what? And then he like falls at the waterfall and breaks the hat a little, and he's like, "No, I want to go to business school." And the professor's like, "No." But you know, like that's kind of where I got that from. I was like, I wonder if that kind of inspired this a little bit, but who knows?
I mean, I don't feel like there's any particular. I don't want to say it's random, but I do think it's a little random. Maybe not LOL so random like internet random, but
maybe the Fezzes are really popular in Canada. I don't know.
Maybe.
Canadian watchers, tell us. Do you wear Fezzes?
All -1 watchers right now. But okay. Well, I think that covers pretty much the swath of the visuals. We're going to pretty much talk about every topic within every other topic anyway, so it doesn't actually matter. Onward to gameplay. All right, so in Fez, you run. You don't even run. Wait, you do a little bit. You have a little bit of a run, and you jump. And you move things. You can pick things up. Only very specific things, though.
Right.
And you can go through doors. So basically, you're running and jumping. It's like Super Meat Boy, except for you don't have any wall jumps. How does that make you feel, Shaun?
Okay. With that, I'm good. This is actually where I drew most of my points of contention with this game.
There we go. Because you already hated Super Meat Boy because all you do is run and jump. This game has even less dynamic gameplay.
It wasn't so much that. It wasn't so much that the gameplay wasn't dynamic as much as it was. I felt like the mechanics of the game here were really what I want to say. Like they were. It got kind of weird. Like when you go to a door, you know you go through the door. When you jump on vines, you know that you're going to be able to hold on to those vines. But then there was other parts where I was absolutely like just clueless about what was going on. There was just no consistency, and this bothered me. So like in the graveyard level, you can jump on the trees. You can jump on top of the trees. But you can't jump into the trees and then climb up the trees. You can only stand on top. And I thought that's like a really weird thing that like you can only use those particular environmental things in a certain way. But then and the other parts of the level, you can jump into the trees and crawl up one or two of them, but you can't all the other ones. It was just so weird. I just thought like
so in some levels you could climb up them?
Yeah, some levels you can like jump on them and attach to them and climb up, but then you go to the next tree and you just like fly in front of it like it didn't even exist there. But then you can hop on top of that same tree once you get up to another way. And I just thought this was like such a weird thing, and it seemed like I just felt like, what are you? You know, like you want. Clearly, there's supposed to be like a map that he had in his mind about how you're supposed to get through these levels, which makes it challenging. But then essentially what you do is only make that map the only way to go. And your internal logic of how you play the game and your ability to be able to access the game freely is now out the window because you've limited it to a path. Do you see what I mean? Like he kind of reverses on his philosophy of not having a game track when he doesn't allow you to fully have access to the rest of the environment. Does that make sense?
So what you're saying is that there isn't that you would have liked there be multiple different ways of achieving victory.
Yes. I mean, okay, so like a good like simile to this would be like a car will let you go anywhere, right? You can drive in a car, you can go anywhere, but you can only drive on a road, you know, without getting arrested or something. You know, like of course you can drive into someone's front yard and through their house, but you're probably gonna get arrested and you're probably not gonna be able to drive very much longer. So essentially, like there's this kind of like defeatist logic there that yeah, you can do whatever you want, but you're limited to what you can actually do. And that was one of the things that I kind of was like looking forward to in the game and that I liked about it overall. But I felt like that made me mad because it just didn't pan out. Because now you're stuck to having to do things a particular way, and it wasn't conducive to the way that sounded in the documentary that he was trying to say, like, well, I wanted you to just be able to do this however you wanted. You know what I mean? But there wasn't another way to do it.
So you have 4 dimensions to go in.
Right.
And you feel like there's only one path to getting to where you wanted to go.
Right.
So you wish that there was maybe like 2?
I wish there was, like the not even 2, like that you could get there.
I'm just saying, like, would you have liked, you know, like maybe 4 different ways to get to achieve victory?
I mean, I guess, yeah, that would have, because I felt like you were kind of stuck. Like you had to turn it in a certain way. It's like the Rubik's Cube, like you have to.
Well, to be fair, it is a cube world.
Right. You have to turn it in a certain way, and I just thought that kind of like I said, there was like a internal logic that just didn't make sense there. So
I am interested in your tree problem though, and that's doesn't follow with what I've experienced in the tree game so far. I've experienced a consistency so far, but I have played, to be fair, like 3 less hours than you have. So there's clearly stuff that I haven't gotten to yet. But from what I've played so far, everything has seemed consistent. So that's interesting that you're having that problem.
Yeah.
Which certainly would color my opinion on the game very differently had I gotten to that, which is interesting.
You really don't notice it until you're in that graveyard level.
Yeah.
Once you're deeper into that, I mean, tell me if you experience that later.
Okay.
But so that was one of the things that I noticed in terms of that. Another, I wrote actually a lot of notes about this because this is where I had so much.
Okay.
Like, so I didn't like that. This is comparing another game to this game. But when I played Monument, the creators of that capitalized on the geometry of their block world, and I feel like Phil really didn't care like channel the same geometry. He did it a little bit, like when you get to the levels where you can turn, like when you're mid jump and you turn, and the whole wall becomes like now it's a whole vine, and you crawl up the vine, then you turn it again, then you hop up, and that's how to beat the level. Like, I felt like there was so much more that he could have done with that to make the game, like, a little bit more exciting than just having it be every once in a while. You know what I mean?
Well, to be fair, we're still only about 25% of the game.
Right.
But are you losing interest because there isn't enough variety being thrown at you?
Right. I mean, the more that I play, the more, yeah, I feel like that. But I feel maybe like I'm only 25% of the way through the game because the game is measured by achievements and not by how many worlds you've reached.
Well,
like
okay.
there's no advancement that you get for like opening up all of the worlds.
Right. Which is interesting. That I don't want to get into that discussion yet because I think that's a whole different that's a big topic that we can get into. But no, but I mean, in my playtime, I was expecting a lot less difficult platforming. I mean, to be fair, the platforming wasn't nearly as difficult as Super Meat Boy, by far. But it was just interesting enough for me to be engaged in it without, like, being frustrated. Mm-hmm. And there was actually one particular puzzle that did frustrate me a little bit, which involved, like, a block going from this way to this way, and there was, like, 2 of them, and they were going like that. You know,
I didn't think I got this one.
Oh, well.
Makes sense. Complicated big game. Took 3 years to make.
Right. But that was really the only part that I found particularly challenging. And I feel like all the things that I kind of encountered all kept the game moving forward. I felt like I was experiencing fresh new things every time. So maybe we had just encountered different things.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I just maybe we're literally in the same exact spot. Maybe I just get played through it faster than you did. We'll never know.
So I don't know. I just think, what was the other thing? I don't know. I don't think that's a very good one.
You don't think what? Oh,
because I was gonna say it was unclear where some objects were and where some weren't. Like when they have the I always had trouble opening up the treasure chests because it wasn't ever clear to me where the front of them was. I felt like it was like turn, control. To do this, and then you have to hit shift 5 times to get through how to open up the case. You know, it's like, is that right? Then you turn it again, and it's like, this isn't right either. That's not right. Okay, well, now I just don't even care what's in there.
Right.
Because.
And did we ever figure out what the treasure map does?
Yeah, when you get deeper into the spooky level, it comes to a big room. You have to have a bunch of treasure maps, and then that's how you actually get the skull. The skull thing is by going to the doors in a certain sequence. The maps tell you how to do that.
Oh. Yeah, because those weren't really that exciting to get out of a treasure chest. To be honest, neither were keys.
The doors don't go anywhere. None of my doors went anywhere. That was actually like significantly.
I don't remember if mine did either. I don't know. I just knew I wanted to.
I thought it was like you open the door and then you get like a 1-room level and there's like 2 blocks in there.
Well, that's 2 blocks you didn't get.
I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I have 16 blocks though. That's the thing. Like it only took me. I got 16.
Yeah.
And then there's only 32 in the game, so that's no, we'll just go into that when we get there too.
No, we can go ahead and talk about that now.
No, because I think that fits in well with the fact that progress is only measured based on the things that you find.
Mm-hmm.
So you like the mechanics though for the most part? You like that it wasn't anything that was like, I
would say the only real like hang up I really had was that picking stuff up, because there's like a crate I was supposed to pick up, and I was just like, why do I have to pick this up? Why can't I just slide it? I don't know. It felt like it was maybe further down there's going to be more things involved throwing things around, but
yeah, you do have to get to a point where you have to like, it's not a crate, it's a bomb that you have to throw at a
bomb.
Yeah, a bunch of stuff, and then it explodes, and then it like opens up a bunch of different doors and stuff like that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
See, now we're talking about this, and it just seems like there's so much more to this game.
Right.
Like,
well, that's what I mean. That's why I don't want to hate on it, because I feel like he has a lot of different mechanisms that are all like really cool, and you have to figure out, master each of them, and hopefully they all come back together in the end. But at the same time, I think that they're like, my tree consistency is something I noticed that was kind of like throughout that whole level, was that there was just an inconsistency there. It wasn't just like there was a hard thing there, but there are other trees and other levels that you cannot connect to in the same way. And it wasn't like it was a different tree or something.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I have no problem with minimal gameplay at all. Like, I think that's fine. With the amount of gameplay that was in there, I thought he did a good job of keeping things interesting for what I played. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I like variety in my gameplay. I like power-ups and different ways to play. But I was like, this is fine. You know, because I was coming from it from the perspective of kind of like he was talking about in the movie, that it's a game that's kind of like not necessarily relaxing, but it's a game that it's not supposed to be like stressful. It's supposed to be like an artistic experience. I was trying to like take it in as like artistically as possible. Mm-hmm. And I specifically remember, as I was like, when I first started playing, I just like talked to everybody, which I normally wouldn't fucking do, because who wants to talk to? They're not going to tell you anything important.
Pokemon, you want to talk to people? Come on.
Right, but you only want to talk to them because they give you an item.
Well, yeah, they'll give you a nice Rattata.
Right, but it's like I came into it, I wanted to just kind of experience it. I wasn't ready to get pumped for like the best mechanical game I've ever played. Mm-hmm. So I think even with the tree inconsistency you're talking about, I probably still wouldn't really care, because I'm not playing it for like mechanics. I'm playing it for like the visuals and like sort of like the loose narrative and whatnot. So yeah. And so you're talking about the completion based on acquiring items, right?
Right. And how that's the only thing that's actually matters. I don't like that.
You don't like the collectathon?
Nope. There can be better ways to advance through the game than just the collection of random things.
Would you have preferred boss battles?
Nope.
Would you have preferred?
I just think there could have been more metrics for assessing game progress.
Would collecting an item that allows you to do a new thing make the gameplay, like, make it better for you? And like an example of that might be like you collect an item at the end of
you find the spring and now you can super jump or something.
Right.
No, not really.
That wouldn't be as interesting.
Yeah.
Would you have preferred just to walk through this whole game and there were no cubes? And
no. I like the way that it's set up, and I like that there are achievements. I just think that it doesn't give it, like, the reason that I'm only 25% of the way through the game is because I only have 3 out of 12 badges.
Well, to be fair, achievements aren't really a metric for value. They're just kind of there. It's just, here you go.
Okay.
It's like just as a collector's thing, just to say you completed the game 100%.
Right.
But I was just wanting to know your rate of completion, just so we can get a taste of like how far into the game, to make sure nothing like drastic happens halfway through that completely changes the gameplay completely. You know,
right.
Just because I'm already hearing things like bombs. I'm like, what? Am I going to kill animals from that? Like, I'm already concerned.
No, nothing like that. But I don't know. I feel like I actually made a really, really decent inroads into this game. And I guess I just want to know, like, maybe this is because I'm like an amateur at this stuff, that I don't really know how far I made it. You know what I mean? Like, if I've only made it 25% of the way, or if I've actually done something significant in terms of opening up a lot of the worlds.
Right.
So now, and that's what I mean, I can't strategize my gameplay because I don't know if I need to go back and like figure more stuff out and look for different things, or if I have to just keep pushing forward into worlds that I have yet to discover.
Right. Well, much like a movie, sometimes you don't know when the end of the movie is until it ends. Specifically, Return of the King, in which the ending just never ended, and I was like, I really have to pee. Can this movie be over now? I really appreciate this long, eventful journey we've all been on for several decades. Well, maybe a decade. I don't know how long those movies took to come out. But I really just need to urinate. So I mean, like, I don't think a lot of games are really like want to tell you, because they don't really want to make you like, they don't want to like sort of like impose like like some sort of like they don't want to have something outside of the narrative indicate that the game is going to end sooner than you think it's going to end.
Right.
Like, you don't want to be you want to be surprised. You want to be like, oh, like, oh, we're getting close. They want you to be able to feel it, not just see it. So, but I mean, like, the game is kind of set up in a way that doesn't really feel like they want you to know when the game is gonna be over. Right. Because Super Meat Boy, it sure does tell you. Look at these 20 levels you got to beat, and then you can have a boss battle. You know, like, it's very clearly laid out.
After your 6th boss battle, then you beat it.
Right. But this game is like, you can go where the fuck you want. This game doesn't even end. You can just sit there.
You can just talk to these people all day.
Yeah.
Keep racking it up.
Look at that squirrel. He's hanging out.
Look at that turtle spin around.
Those mice are cute.
Look at that cute mushroom that you're jumping up on.
Yeah. See, that's the whole game. Nothing else happens.
Look at those crows.
Right. So how did you feel about that? As a departure from the way Super Meat Boy played, how did you feel about the modular worlds and like the sort of non-linear path that you could take?
It was different, and I accept that.
However,
I feel like I don't have a value judgment on that. It was different. That's why I just want to say, like,
okay.
I enjoyed it equally as much.
I would say, as someone who typically
Mm-hmm.
prefers linear gameplay, as in, like, I would prefer, like, here's all the levels. You play them. Yeah. I was surprisingly refreshed from the, oh God, I have to go back. I have to collect everything. You know, it's kind of like there's some levels in Super Mario World on the map that have like multiple different exits. Mm-hmm. That, like, if you fly up there or like you do something in particular, you can get a different secret level or something. Mm-hmm. And that was, you know, that's really engaged me. And so this modular board of game was really cool. I really liked it like that. But I also liked specifically that they were like nodes. That they were like, that it wasn't like you're in a free roaming world. Mm-hmm. Like maybe like Grand Theft Auto. You know, I'm like kind of like, you know, that's not as engaging. But I kind of like that there are nodes and everything was kind of separated out.
Mm-hmm. I know that when you go to the map, if you do everything, if there's like you've gotten everything in that particular node, it turns gold.
Prime.
I mean, that's what that's what I gathered pretty quickly when I was going back at one point and looking through maps. I was like, oh, I must have not got something there. I should go back and keep exploring that.
And then I finally figured out there was a map. Like, they told me there was a map in the very beginning of the game, but I was like, whatever. And I saw it, and I was like, I know where I'm going. Because I felt so lost. I was like, is this the hub world? Is this where I'm supposed to go back to? Mm-hmm. And then he like said something about like the gates. I'm like, this gate only goes one way. I'm like, so I'm not gonna go back there again? And I was like, oh, I have a map now. Oh.
No, about going through all the other crap to get back there.
Everything's fine. It's all good.
So,
so you are currently indifferent on backtracking.
Yeah, I feel like I don't have enough knowledge of both of those genres to know whether or not I would feel.
Well, don't you worry. There'll be games where you will dread the backtrack.
I feel like I didn't find myself as frustrated as I did with Super Meat Boy, having to just repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat.
And that is true that you do die possibly fairly often, but they do get you right back in there. And it's always like a quick checkpoint. And
it could have been quicker.
Yeah. I'm like, yes, this is good. Put me back exactly where I was. It kept me in the zone. It kept me from getting frustrated because in Meat Boy, you know, you don't want to do the whole fucking thing over again. You know, some of the jumps I made, I was like, did I really die from that? Come on. But, you know.
Sometimes I would just walk off stuff and just fall into the abyss.
I did that a few times. I just wanted to see what was down there. And they do a good job of making sure there's something in the background as you die.
This is one thing that I did discover. So on one of the walkthroughs that I saw, they had Meat Boy, or not Meat Boy, they had Gomez get into the water and swim out to get another different goal. So, and there's that one, did you get to the pyramid that's on top of the water yet?
Yes.
Okay. I got in the water and I just
kept swimming.
Yeah, well, I put like a thing down on my keyboard and just walked away. Right? Thinking that like he would
not 5 hours in.
he would just die. You know, like get to a certain point and turn around or find something. And it didn't. Like literally I probably swam like 5 minutes in one direction and I came back and he was still going. And I was like, I wonder if it would make me get back quicker, and it didn't.
That's messed up.
I was like, whoa. So I thought like people get to another world, there's some shortcut or something. No.
I was wondering about that too. That I was like, I thought I would just die if I fell into water. I don't. You don't.
Nope.
Not even a little bit.
I wonder if you can swim down in the water.
I wouldn't. Yeah, because I've seen like
oh God, I'm an idiot.
like ladders and stuff in the water. I'm like, is that?
Yeah.
Really go down there?
That's a good point.
And so now, but right now I'm like, this feels like a superfluous like mechanic. Like, why do I want to swim? There's everything's like
everything is in the air. If it's not
right,
in
there's
air, why would
nothing in the water. So
or
maybe
is there?
I hope that there's something in the water. I really hope there is. So I'm excited for that.
I know. I got a bunch of questions I have to ask myself now.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, it's almost 11:30, so let's go ahead and talk about the struggle and final thoughts. So, any struggles that you had with Fez?
The question I wrote down here that I keep going back to is the game supposed to be slow and take you a long time, or is it just slow and taking me a long time?
Mm-hmm. I didn't really feel slow. Maybe it's only slow because you have something the polar opposite to compare it against. Maybe there's just a lot of game in there.
That was my struggle. I was just thinking, like, am I not going as fast as I should? Is it something I'm doing wrong?
So it's more of you're losing the war of attrition. It's you versus the game, and you're like, this game's lasting a little bit longer than I wanted to.
Right.
Okay.
So I don't know. That was it.
Okay. So there wasn't really. So you'd say there wasn't really much of a struggle then.
No, not really.
Because the game was, let's be honest, pretty easy comparatively.
Right.
Gotcha. Cool.
When I went to sit down and play it, I wasn't like, oh my god, I'm not gonna advance. When with Meat Boy, I clearly was thinking that a lot. Like, if I just get past this one level in the next hour,
it makes you feel pretty good to actually progress to get somewhere.
Right. So that was redeeming.
All right. I pretty much thought the same way. Actually, no, I didn't really think the same way. That's a complete lie. My only struggle was maybe sometimes because there was the tilting puzzle, like I said, where the mechanics kind of like eased up, like felt a little more loose than I wanted it to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I would just say maybe the struggle for me was just sometimes I didn't fully understand how far my jump was. I didn't really feel like I understood all the time where I was going to end up, which is fine. So, final thoughts. Fez.
How much did you pay for it?
I think it was like $10.
How much was its retail? What's the MR?
I think it's $10. Let's take a look.
$10? I feel like we always keep coming back. I feel like price point is like the first place that I go to. When it's
That's
like
okay.
Overall.
Because this should be a consumer show. This should be a show for the consumer, that they should know if they think that this game is worth their time and money.
Mm-hmm.
Fez currently $9 on Steam. It has a.
What's it in the humble?
Well, it's probably about the same price, I would say. They try to keep their prices competitive, but it currently has a very positive rating on Steam with 7,283 reviews. Got 100% from Joystick, 10 out of 10 Eurogamer.
Okay.
Ooh. Well, it has a 91 on Metacritic.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Is it worth $10? Yeah. That's definitely worth that. Not just because Phil worked hard on it, just because it's genuinely a fun game to play. The narrative is good. The world is designed well. There's mechanical errors, but I think that just goes to the nature of being an indie game. Nothing is going to be flawless, that's what makes it nice, actually.
It's also $10 on Humble Store.
Yeah. Okay, so now time for my ultimate question that I have to ask myself. So now that I've played 6 hours of it and I have talked about it on this podcast, am I going to open it up ever again? No.
Whew. All right. Well, okay. Let's make this a little less forever. Okay, so we can say never again, a week, a month, a year.
Man, if it's a week and I haven't opened it up, then it's not going to be. Maybe within a year. Maybe I might open it up every once in a while. Something will happen, and I'll say like, "Oh, I should play that a little more."
Yeah,
but I don't know. I just can't. I hate saying this, but I can't see myself returning to this game.
Yeah.
To be honest, I haven't even thought about Meat Boy since we got done talking about.
That's okay. Because sooner or later we're gonna find a game that you're gonna be like, this is it.
And I see myself like going and doing that. That said, I like this game and I would recommend this game to people, regardless of whether or not they like video games or whether or not they what their skill level was. Because I think it was, as somebody who's new to this, it was really accessible.
Right. It's definitely a good first indie game.
Excuse me. Right. You don't have to be like technologically savvy to figure this game out.
Right.
And I don't think that. I think that it's like the vagueness of the storyline allows it to be accessible to a wide range of people, which is really awesome.
So what you're still looking for is you're either. I think that's like the kind of the takeaway is either you're looking for a game that's going to give you a lot of different ways to play, or has a compelling narrative that gives you something to think about.
Right. Yeah.
That's pretty much the two camps that you wanted to be in.
Right.
Fez currently did not give you compelling, varied gameplay.
Right.
And it did not give you a compelling story that gave you something to think about.
Right. But that said, to what the reviews you were just reading, I think that Fez. I think I will be returning to Fez not to play, but I will be returning to Fez as a reference game. Because I feel like in terms of indie games that this will probably be like one of the literature pieces in indie games. In the same way that Meat Boy is as well.
You're like, I want to get into this indie game thing. What should I play? You're like, just play Fez.
Right. Because I feel like I reference Monument a lot because it's what I played. But I feel I won't reference it that once we've gotten into like 10.
You are talking about Monument Valley, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Because that game does actually have a very high following. It has a very good following. So that's good.
I mean, that's just one thing I think though is that when we talk about games, I'll definitely keep referencing Fez.
Okay. Well, we're gonna try to reference all the games that we've played and kind of at least try to stack them up at least a little bit,
right?
To see like where one went right and one went wrong, and how we can kind of get, because I'm kind of like trying to give you a spectrum. I feel like maybe Super Meat Boy and Fez maybe weren't the best like 2 points to start from. There may be a little bit, like if the center is here, like Meat Boy's here and Fez is kind of like almost towards the center, but it's definitely still an action platformer that has a retro aesthetic, but it's just not as hard as Super Meat Boy.
Right.
So I feel like with time we'll be able to find the spectrums, which is probably what we're going to do next week or whenever the next show is. Because I believe we were deciding between either Braid or Bastion.
Yeah.
Which I remember you were specifically excited about Bastion, but you felt like you wanted to play Fez because you wanted to hit the kind of connect with in the game, the movie.
Right.
But we'll release that information on what we play next very soon. So Fez gets a pass this time.
No, it was good.
Yeah.
It was good. It had its flaws. But
play it again in a year. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
All right. So that's the end of the show. We ran it almost an hour and a half.
Hey, we picked a big game to talk about here. Okay. If we would have had to play the whole thing now,
right?
Man, getting it done in one episode, this is a lot. That's a lot to say.
True. All right. Well, see you guys next time. Bye-bye.